Okay, so I'm gonna open up with a disclaimer. I know I'm late. I know. And I know there's been developments, she's been on Club Shay Shay and everything like that. I filmed this day after everything first went down. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if a lot of this is outdated. But I tried, man. This is not my full-time job, man. So, please show me some love if you think this was funny, if you like what I'm doing. Give me a subscribe, give me a like, and I hope you enjoy. So I thought I was done with black villains. I swore to myself I'd never make another video like this again. But here you niggas go niggin'. I came out of my retirement with my nice Dominican wife sipping coconuts on the beach. That's all I want to do, just drinking coconuts all day, coconut milk with her all day. But y'all niggas done pissed me off. I gotta get back on camera just to make this video. I ain't been in front of a camera in almost a whole 2 years. My Dominican wife, she calling me right now because of y'all niggas. Now, if you know anything about me, you know I'm the biggest Breakfast Club fan out there. And no, I'm not talking about the movie starring all them random white people who are probably dead and gone. I'm talking about the syndicated radio show hosted by DJ Envy, Charlemagne the God, and Angela Yee. At least that was the lineup for a good 13 years until Angela Yee decided to leave in 2022. She said enough is enough. I'm getting my own show. This is a boys club. And what followed was this weird year and a half where Charlemagne and DJ Envy had different random people on to kind of test the waters to see who they could have as a co-host. They were so desperate that at one point they stuck DJ Envy's wife on the mic and she just straight up roasted him. Anytime she had to roast him, she took it. And while I could give you a full list of all the people that were on, there were 4 that fans really gravitated to. Claudia Jordan, Jason Lee, Loren LOROSA, and Ellen DeGeneres. Nah, Ellen DeGeneres wasn't on there. Ellen DeGeneres went to London when Diddy got arrested, but that's a whole nother thing. Jess hilarious. People were excited about Jess above all the others. She brought an actual comedic perspective to the show. I know Charlemagne likes to joke a lot. He likes to be a goofball with his donkey of the day. But he's not a tried and true performer like Jess. Jess has been on stages. She brought this hood Baltimore type of soft family girl aura, a mom energy to the Breakfast Club. And people in the comments were begging for Jess to be the host. And when she was officially announced as the 3rd host, man, gooners everywhere, man. They gooned all everywhere. They just couldn't contain themselves. They were gooning everywhere.
Oh, you know what, Ojo? We got to give a congratulations to Jess Hilarious. She's the new co-host of the Breakfast Club. Yeah, her body ain't no laughing matter though. Her body yada 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 yada. Like Kyrie dribbling 2 basketballs.
Now I watched this show pretty religiously, and by religiously I mean every damn day. And in the beginning, Jess was getting all the love. She could connect with guests in a different way because she was a performer. And she had 2 segments. Jess Fix My Mess, where she gave advice on relationships, baby daddy drama, parenting, that kind of stuff, right? And another segment called Jess with the Mess, and her news is real.
Jess with the Mess, and my news is real.
Where she reported on feuds and drama, celebrity gossip. Now Angela Yee had 2 segments very similar to this, but Jess was bringing a completely different flavor to them. She might not have studied journalism in college, but god damn it, what she did have was life experience. Jess is from Baltimore, one of the most culturally diverse cities in the world. She's in an interracial relationship, and she has a child from a relationship that didn't work, but her and her baby father Jerome are the best of friends. Now, I don't know about y'all, but something like that takes a lot of maturity that I don't have, right? And I bet you wouldn't have it either. She's a traveling comedian, so she's been all around the country. She knows how to connect with people from all different walks of life. And when it came to Jess Fix the Mess, man, she killed that. Man, people will say Jess is the last person to give advice, and I'm like, why? She's successful and she has a lot of different experience under her belt, but more importantly, I think Jess changed the vibe of the show for the better. In 2018, Monique dragged the Breakfast Club for giving her donkey of the day, and ever since then they've been on her shit list.
I was donkey of the day. Remember that? I was donkey of the day. The breakfast nubs called me the donkey of the day.
She wanted people to understand that all she wanted was to be paid what she deserves as a legend. And Jess Hilarious checked Charlemagne on what he said about her all those years ago. Without Jess, Charlemagne would have never done 2 things that we know he never does: admit he's wrong and apologize. But Jess got him to do both of those on the same day. That's just like how my girlfriend was able to convince me to eat pussy and on the same night. An impossibility. And just being a black woman comedian, Jess probably knows exactly how it feels to be lowballed, man. A week after all that, Taraji P. Henson was crying because she was getting lowballed for her acting career. It's like, how many black women need to cry in front of you, Charlemagne, for you to see the truth? Now, Jess put that pressure on him, and Monique was nothing but grateful. You know, Monique gave Jess her props. She went on the Breakfast Club and gave Jess her props. Because without Jess, Charlamagne would not have realized he was wrong, and he would not have given Monique a platform to once again voice her grievances with the industry. And Jess's banter with DJ Envy and Charlamagne, I think it was excellent. Like, I remember there was a point where Charlamagne said that Jess came over his house for dinner, and it was like she was family. She gotten so close with both of them in such a short amount of time. But the three biggest critiques that Jess Hilarious got, people will often say that her interview questions were kind of lacking, that she didn't have much to really say at all, that she didn't have any comments of substance on news topics. She didn't really know what was going on, particularly when it came to politics, people would say. But a lot of people complained that with her segment Just With a Mess, she had a stint where she just outright refused to read a lot of stories that the producers picked for her. And the ones that she did choose to read, she struggled to read them.
All right, Kim Kardashian splits from Odell Beckham Jr. following year-long romance. Duh. Aka got a tattoo of Tammy's name covered up. Okay, so did she the other day. So that's so funny. Who cares?
Angela Yee would never. Like, she would sit her little cute half and half up there, and she would just go along whatever they had planned, bro. She would say whatever they needed her to, even if it was borderline sexual harassment.
Which hole do you focus on?
Can I say Angela Yee without going to human resources?
No. This was not my idea. I don't even understand what this is. What hole are you focusing on?
Throw it to me.
Everyone said, man, this is a great gig. Like, the fact that you can refuse work and still get paid, like, I need that job. Pass me the boat. Let me drive the boat. So a lot of us, myself included, we started wondering how Jess would kind of grow into the role, because it was clear she had a lot of work to do to find her voice on the show, or even if the higher-ups would get tired of her shit and fire her. That's what I thought would happen. But she never even got the chance, because just 2 months after getting hired, she announced that she had another bun in that oven. Another bun in that Baltimore oven. Another biscuit in that Baltimore booty. Cue Loren LoRosa. Originally from Delaware, Loren, an ex-flight attendant, is most known for her work at TMZ. But she's since transitioned out of that show, and she's appeared on The Breakfast Club, you know, a lot of times during that weird transition where they were looking for a co-host. And she definitely did her thing journalistically. Like, I remember watching at the time, but she didn't really fit in socially. Like, she didn't really have good rapport with Charlamagne and Envy. Her jokes that she tried to make didn't really hit. She was getting offended too much at all kind of stuff they were saying. But still, Loren was one of the most popular contenders. So when Jess went on maternity leave, it only made sense to choose Loren to fill her role. Now, it is obvious that Loren did a better job than Jess when it comes to reporting, but it's not that clear cut as you might think. See, I would argue that sure, Jess went on maternity leave and that let Loren kind of excel, but the timing had more to do with it than anything. You know, the exact time. Jess left in August of last year, and she came back around the middle of November. And that doesn't really sound like a long time when I say it, but a lot happened last fall if you really think about it. You know, for one thing, we had the 2024 election that year, and Loren was able to flex them journalistic muscles full force, you know, because pop culture and politics kind of became synonymous last year, you know, right? We had Megan Thee Stallion twerking with Kamala. We had Donald Trump meeting with Logan Paul. On top of the election, we had a Diddy development every day. On top of that, Drake versus Kendrick just got a lot more complicated. Drake lost, diss tracks, Drake was suing, all that stuff. And there was a lot of political guests coming on the show, and Loren had this ability to really do the extra research and dig deep. And a lot of guests actually voiced how much they loved Loren's questions and how much they loved Loren. And suddenly the Breakfast Club became a place where it was more than just celebrity gossip. Like, you could watch the Breakfast Club and actually learn something. You know, fans started calling her Loren I Reached Out LaRosa. And her banter with Charlamagne and Envy, it went to a whole nother level that Jess's could have never. Like, we got this between her and Charlotte, this little sister big brother dynamic, and then Envy was kind of like he could play mediator and kind of be on Loren's side one day and Charlamagne's the next. It was really cool. And I remember watching and I was like, man, once Loren gets the boot, you know, once Jess comes back, we're not going to get any of this anymore. Like, it was kind of disappointing. I was kind of sad. Like, Charlamagne would make fun of her wigs and then she'd make fun of his face and his skincare routine. It was kind of cool.
Today I like your outfit, but sometimes when you come in here with the matching sets, I'd be like, look at him, look at old head. That's a real old head.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
I feel like that about your wigs. You come here with the outfit, look at them old wigs. Look at that. That's how I feel.
Stupid. All right.
Her time at TMZ, I think it kind of gave her this like interesting pop culture and political knowledge that helped her take the reporting of the Breakfast Club to new heights, right? And suddenly the show, it evolved into a place where you could actually get actual quality news and not just tabloid kind of gossip that didn't matter. Like you could actually get real news. But comparisons between Jess and Lauren got worse. You know, even guests started coming on the show and they started comparing the girls.
That's up for debate.
You took us out there. You took us out there. I just wanted to. Okay. All right. Here we go.
When's Jess coming back?
And so the day Jess came back, things got like immediately awkward. You know, Lauren was trying to go in this big spiel about how she's tired about how people are comparing them and saying that she's better. And Jess immediately came in and kicked her ass out of her chair, man. And you know, it was sort of implied that Lauren would not be on air anymore, but she started coming in the middle of Jess with a mess to explain certain things that Jess didn't get. And that earned her the nickname Litigious Lauren. But then, you know, she took over Jess's segment completely. Like they say, this is Jess with the mess, but Jess would say like 2 words and Lauren would read the whole news story. It was like slowly but surely Lauren was like subbing for Jess again. And it was clear that Jess was getting pissed off. Like she started sneaking in little sneak disses at Lauren, man. Like it was kind of hard to watch, man.
Did anyone in this room receive a text message telling them to go back to the plantation?
No.
No, you should go though. They said D down. I know you need that.
Damn.
Then she started telling Lauren to be quiet. She started telling Lauren to hush. And boy, I tell you, man, you knew that Delaware dame just wanted to smack the dog shit out of that Baltimore damsel.
Hold up, be quiet. How everybody?
Rihanna
For a long time.
her outfit
This is
mattered.
not, no, listen, hush. This is not a Travis. No, Lauren. No, just listen. Just please, hush. This is not a Taylor Swift football game situation.
But I gotta give it up to Lauren, man, for not doing that, for keeping her professionalism, because that level of professionalism and class can't be taught. Like, and Lauren's not dumb. Like, she probably knows how Jess is feeling, and she knows what the comments are saying. You think Lauren doesn't know? But needless to say, you know, week after week, the comments just kept getting more and more hostile. Every other comment was like, why is Jess on the show? Jess adds nothing. And it's like, Jess was getting more rude to Lauren. Like, you could tell the comments was getting to her. You know, something had to change, or else World War III was gonna go off in that studio. Fans rejoiced when Jess with the Mess was changed to the latest with Loren LoRosa, especially since Jess was trying to hold onto that segment like Coolio was holding onto his hair in his last days. Jess tried to insert some details here and there into some of the stories, but it was just downright embarrassing. Like play the clip. It's just too embarrassing.
Yeah, I have clocks all over my house, but I don't tell time on them.
Then out of nowhere, she just stopped bragging on Lauren and she started complimenting. Like she did a whole 180 out of the blue every single day. Like your hair looks nice, your nails looks nice, whatever.
Look really good, Lauren.
Thank you, Jess. You know we work hard to look good.
You sick, Jess? Yeah.
But that didn't last that long because March 18th was coming. You see, I had no idea that Jess and Corey Holcomb had a beef that went like almost a decade. But he decided for whatever reason to roast Jess and say she wasn't doing good as Lauren. And that prompted Jess to go on Instagram Live and throw everybody on the Breakfast Club under the bus.
Angela Yee ain't that crazy. Not as crazy as niggas try to make her out to be. Nah, it's the reason that lady wanted to leave that show. I don't know how she did that shit for 13 years, my nigga. Every day, and they always talk about, you ain't at work, you ain't at work. Yeah, bitch, I started picking up more shows. Hell no. That's how I'm getting. Hell no. Hell no. I have more fun outside the studio than I have in there now. Is you crazy? That shit is ran like a high school.
Jess basically dragged everyone. You heard her, man. She said the Breakfast Club is ran like a high school, East Side High, whatever that is. She said that no one takes up for her with this online shit. That no one is telling her what the F is going on with Lauren. Like, is she gonna stay on the show? She's the 4th co-host. Like, what the hell? And things got even more heated the next day, bruh. Because Charlamagne, Envy, Lauren, Jess, they all worked out this messy business on camera.
But look, it's not even about what they want me to do. I did last night what I wanted to do, what I felt like I should have been did. I've been asking questions.
These people are in the
They could be bots and all that,
but
and we doing it on air when we could have did it behind the scenes. Like I F with you the long way.
Pause.
Not on some internet-ish. I'm going to get a sparkling water.
I got my candles lit. It's the world's most dangerous morning show, The Breakfast Club. DJ Envy, Charlamagne the God, Just Hilarious, Loren LoRosa is here.
Hold up. Roll that clip back. Like, golly, I know this the Breakfast Club, but I ain't know they was serving dinner yams like that. Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. They got some baddies at the Breakfast Club, man. Between Jess Hilarious, Loren LaRosa, this mystery girl who I think is Taylor that Charlamagne is always talking about, and this fine producer that Charlamagne was having lunch with a few days ago, man. They got some baddies in the office. 10 out of 10 certified. Man, how do I get a job there, man? How do I get a job at the Breakfast Club, man? Somebody send them my resume, man. Please hire me. Hire me. Now, Jess has been under all this scrutiny ever since she went on Instagram Live. You know, people are saying that it was dumb of her to make this conversation public. She should have made it private. But, I mean, I guess. But all of this really started under the public eye. You know, fans, they saw how awkward things were in the studio. We were there every step of the way. And yes, Jess could have handled this in a different way. You know, she played right into the critics who basically wanted her to crash out. You know, they sitting at home laughing right now. They celebrating. And at the same time, I can understand how she feels. You know, I've worked a lot of jobs in my young life. And two in particular, I remember the same thing happened to me. As far as you show up and day in and day out, you give it your all. You work hard, your hardest. And your more experienced coworkers who have, you know, maybe they learn faster or they're better at it naturally, you know, they get the promotions, they get the raises, and you kind of get left behind. And can't help but wonder, like what's gonna happen to me? You know, I was promised a raise. I was promised to elevate too alongside of them, but I don't know what's going on, and I know just how much internal chaos and struggle and strife that can create. And I couldn't imagine having all of that happen and then having to sit across from this woman on TV, getting thousands of views from people, being listened by millions of people all over the country, and I got a newborn at home. Like, that just sounds like a lot. And Loren, man, you can't even hold nothing against her. She saw an opportunity and she went for it. Like, you think Loren didn't know what the comments were saying about her and Jess? She knew. She knew that the better she was going to be would mean that the comments were going to get more savage towards Jess. She didn't care. She had to do what she had to do. But this is what I'm going to say to you, Jess. You know, I'm a nobody. I don't have the career. I don't have the money, the accolades, the family. My girl is not as bad as you. But you need to remember all the things that you have under your belt that no one else at that table does. So what? If you can't read the stories as good as Loren, so what? I bet you've been to more places than her. You've stood on more stages than her. You do stand-up on stages bigger than what Envy has DJ'd on, bigger than what Charlamagne has spoken on. When comedians, actors, directors, entertainers come on that show, you're the one in the room that's the most equipped to ask questions to them, to relate to them, to draw on your own experience, to get something out of them that they've never said on any other platform. Loren leveraged her skills in a unique way to make her own lane, and you can do the same too. A wise man named Drake once said, Mike never tried to rap like Pac. Pac never tried to sing like Mike. And that's true here. You know, it was painful to watch Jess try to be more like Loren when she came back. And I'm pretty sure if Loren tried to act like Jess on Just Fix My Mess, it would have flopped. Jess, you say the things that we all think, but we're afraid to say. You're so relatable. And I'm not going to lie, watching you as a Marylander make it that far, man, that make me proud to be a Marylander too.
I have Maryland pride.
I know it's frustrating. I know it's frustrating to look in the comments and have all these losers, all these people talk about how Loren is better, whatever that means. But you got to give yourself props. You got to remember that Monique gave you props. Monique, a legend, gave you endorsements. Shannon Sharp is gooning to you as we speak. Why don't you focus on that and not these other comments of your haters? I know it's hard, but you gotta remember that you don't gotta be just with the mess in real life. Because when the trees that make up the forest of your life are falling, we don't all gotta hear the sound. I came up with that 2 minutes ago. Y'all like that? Yeah, Taylor, call me, Taylor, call me. Now after all that, I'm stumped, man. I don't know who to give the black feeling to. To be honest, I think everybody should hold some of this, right? Jess for letting the comments get to her. Loren for being such a baddie nonstop. Charlamagne for laughing, not taking anything too seriously. The producer for walking around in that office with all that cake and not giving me a slice. And Envy for failing to beat the light-skin allegations.
I'm going to get a sparkling water.
I got my candles lit.
The Breakfast Club is a great show. It's not perfect, but it's evolving, right? And people will have critiques. And now they know that their little keyboard strokes can make waves. Now they know that they can get to the host. I do think more work could have been done to make Loren's transition into the show a lot easier for Jess to stomach. But I do think Jess deserves her props for letting Loren stay on camera. You know, I do wish that Jess wasn't taking all the fallout from this. I'm not saying that what she did was the wisest thing to do. To be honest, I think it was far from it, but I understand her feelings, like I said. But for now, things seem to be fine, you know, and Jess is seemingly taking a more active role during interviews. Jess Fix My Mess is making a comeback. So only time will tell if things will actually change. So yeah, that's it.